So when I say making the interview comfortable, what I really mean is, how do you create a space where the person that you're talking to, where they feel natural and can open up to you? Because if you can do that, then you're set up to get some really good answers. Listen here to Bob Costas. He's one of the great interviewers. He's talking about just how much easier the job is when you can get the person to feel comfortable with you.
You know, people often on a program like that, if you could establish some trust and you could get them comfortable, it wasn't so much how good the question was, it was whether they felt comfortable enough to just give it up. You know, if you create the right atmosphere in an interview program, sometimes you're just the beneficiary. You're just sitting there when they all of a sudden decide to open up and something terrific happens.
So let's start with the setting. Do you want them seated, standing, moving, on location, or a presentation? For seated and standing, you get a very controlled interview. Until you're more comfortable with interviewing and with the camera, I strongly suggest you do one of those. I use seated in a chair for something that'll have some emotion. Honestly, if I hope that they might cry or tear up during the interview, I make sure that they're sitting down. That's going to help to create that mood. I'll also sit while I'm talking to them and to make sure that I'm at eye level with them and so we feel equal for the conversation. If I want the interview to be energetic and exciting, I'll have them stand up and I'll stand too. That adds a vitality and helps keep them loose. If I want them to laugh as they tell their story, I'll usually have them stand up. For a middle ground, I'll use a stool. Honestly, I use a stool when I'm not certain beforehand which way this interview needs to go, or if I need it to have some deeper parts and some more fun parts, and I want them to feel comfortable for both. Now, while you're learning to interview, sitting is often easier, so you may want to just use that. Or, obviously, if you're interviewing people who may not be comfortable standing or on a stool, older people or anyone with a challenge, sitting's going to be the way to go. On location means doing the interview in a real-life space, maybe on the scene with the police or with the teacher in their classroom. Again, you usually have a lot less control here, both over the location and over the subject's attention, so it makes it more challenging. But with the proper planning, it can look more natural and makes the subject feel at home because it may be their home or a space where they're used to being. A moving interview can have a lot more energy and it looks a lot more interesting, but it also gives you a lot less control because the camera and the subjects all need to be moving. It's a challenging interview, especially if it's just you behind the camera while you're trying to do the interview. Probably not something you want to try right away. Finally, a presentation. It's a different type of interview, but it can be effective with the right subject. My example for this is my wife, actually, who hates to be interviewed, and especially hates to be interviewed by me. She's the president of a private college, and she had a message that she wanted to get out, but we're having a lot of trouble getting it just right for the camera. Again, I suspect it was that I was behind the camera that was much, if not all, of the problem. We realized that the best form for her wasn't in front of a camera, it was in front of an audience. So we set up for her to deliver a message as a presentation and set up her students as the backdrop. We filmed her and recorded the audio out of the soundboard. The presentation format, it worked really well. It felt really natural and it added an energy that just wouldn't have been there with an interview in the office. Another note for comfort, take a bottle of water for them. They may have their own water, or they may even be in their own home where they don't need your water, but take water anyway. It's a great way to show them that you're thinking about their comfort, even to that level. Next, location, location, location.